In this video, we're going to talk about how to stop the obsessive negative voice, the thought that goes on in your mind. How do you break free from that crazy loop that sometimes the mind can get into? You know, whether it's that inner critic that is always doubting you and attacking you and belittling you, or that worry. You know, I'm not good enough, I'm gonna run out of money, nobody's liking me, I'm afraid of rejection. All those thoughts that can really create a lot of stress, a lot of worry and anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment, can really make us suffer in our life. But on top of that, our thoughts directly affect what we create and manifest in our life. So it is critical for us, if we want to create a better life with more health, prosperity, happiness, success, whatever it is you want, you cannot do it from a place of negative, constant chatter in your mind and expect that garbage to create something beautiful in your life. It doesn't work, it has never worked, and it will never work. So as long as we're not able to raise our level of consciousness, our level of awareness, our level of thinking to a new level, more prosperity, more abundance, more self-love, more empowering thoughts, as long as we don't raise ourselves to that level and train our mind to that level, our external condition, the people, the things, the situation that we keep on attracting will not change. They will perpetuate because they're simply a match to our state of consciousness. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a powerful technique that I share with a lot of my clients and that I use in my life personally to get over the inner worry critic that I used to have. I used to have a constant fearful voice in my head that was creating a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, that was making me afraid of people's rejection, all these things. I was constantly having fearful, doubtful thoughts in my mind. And it was to the point where I was constantly being anxious and afraid of something going wrong, right? And when I started using the technique I'm about to tell you in this video, everything started to change, because this is the moment when I not only realized the power that voice, those thoughts had in my life, but it's also the moment I started breaking that pattern. And when I started breaking the pattern, I was able to bring something else in and retrain my mind, recondition my mind to a greater level, to more confidence, to more abundance, to more trust, to more courage. And when you do that, everything starts to change. So I don't know what is the type of voice that you have in your mind, whether it's negative, whether it's critical, whether it's afraid, whether it's resentment, whatever that voice is. It is important, first step, that you become aware of it. And science and many research recently have been showing us that for a lot of people, 90% of their daily thoughts are negative and repetitive. So if you fall in this category of being like most people who are, unaware of the voices that goes in your mind, or maybe you're aware that there's so much negativity going in your mind, I invite you to pay a lot of attention to this video, because it could really be a game changer in your life. So the first thing is to become aware and simply acknowledge, I have those voices, I have those thoughts. And the first thing I want you to do is to really get a grasp on it with your awareness, and to write down what is those thoughts, the main one, right? Maybe I'm afraid of what people are going to say, they're not going to like me, I'm not good enough, you're a piece of shit, why do you do that? Whatever those thoughts may be honest with yourself and just write it down, because when you see it on paper, it does something. You're able to have a different perspective on things, and it gives you power, because the moment you see it, it's the moment where you can start to change it. Okay? So first, awareness is critical. If you don't see it, you will not change it. The second thing, and this is where we go into retraining your mind, and I want to give you this analogy of training a little dog. You know, when the dog is young, this is the best time to train it, right? It does something well, you give it a little reward, and you just strengthen that condition so that it will grow up being well behaved and doing all kind of proper behaviors. And we are in many ways like animals. We need to train ourselves, and we have been trained, when we were kids, all the way in our life we have been trained to create certain habits. And that inner voice that you have, that critical inner voice, often sounds like one of your parents. For a lot of people, it either sounds like the mom, the dad, or one of the teacher. So we have to train ourselves like we would train an animal. And so this technique works by doing a lot of repetition. This is not something that you do once and it's done and you're over it and it solves all your problems. If that's the kind of solution you're looking for, that video is not going to help you. I'm telling you straight away. And the way it works is that we're going to train yourself to interrupt the chatter. Whatever the voice is, whatever the critic, whatever the negativity goes on, we want to create so much power in your ability at any moment, no matter what's happening, to be like, stop, and interrupt that voice and create a gap, a space where you can transition to a more empowering thought. So I'm gonna give you an example, okay? A couple of days ago, I was looking for somebody to take over my lease, my apartment, because I'm moving to a new place. And for me to not lose 2 months deposit, the deal that I made with the landlord is that I'm gonna help you find somebody, right? And so I started posting, the condo on many places, Facebook and so on, to find somebody. And after 1 week, only 2 people came and they didn't get it. And I started to have a lot of doubt. I started to have that voice, oh my God, did you make a mistake? Did you go too late? Why did you wait so long? It's never gonna work out, you're gonna lose your deposit. That voice was just going, ramming at me and attacking me and just going back to that old worry, anxiety mode. And in that moment, I became aware of it. And because I'm so trained in what I'm about to show you, I was able to interrupt it. And I was able to go from scarcity to it's never gonna work, everything is fucked up, to no. Everything is always working out for me. I'm gonna find someone. I don't know who, how. I'm gonna find someone. It's gonna work out. It's gonna be great. Let's go. So I was able to go on the other side by applying this technique. So how does it work? We have established a couple of things right now. One, you need awareness, because if you're not aware of your thought, you won't be able to use this technique. That's the thing, right? So you need to become aware of when is that voice going at you and when is it the loudest, and then use it. And for a lot of people, from my experience, from a lot of people, it is the loudest either when they're being triggered or when they're doing, robotic, mundane chores, day-to-day things, because this is when the mind goes on autopilot and brings up a lot of those voices. And so this is the first step, is just to become very good at noticing, oh, it's happening again, right? Just the fact that you can observe it, you already have power over it. The second and most important step is this, is to start using the word stop. When you notice it, at first I want you to do it out loud. The moment you can speak it out loud, especially at the beginning, it has more power. And it kind of really break that state. It's kind of like you're listening to music and you jam it. You're like, no, stop, right? You hit the pause button and now there's like silence for a moment. And that space after the moment where you say stop, with a very firm, strong voice, stop, the mind goes blank. This is beautiful because at the beginning, the blank space after the word stop will be very short, right? It's almost like you create that vacuum, that space, and then the mind catch up to it and be like, oh, okay, let's go back, kind of thing. But as you start to train yourself to interrupt that voice, okay, again, and again, every time you notice it, okay, I'm doing it again, stop. You are creating greater and greater space, but also you are creating greater and greater control over that old program. So you're taking over that power of not challenging that thought, never interrupting it, and just really believing everything it says, to stepping out, I see it, I interrupt it, I create a space for something new, and then the third step is to introduce something better in your awareness, because the universe doesn't like a vacuum. If you leave that space wide open and you don't fill it up with something, the mind will just fill it up with what it's programmed to do, meaning the old voice. So how does it work? I gave you the story earlier, right? When I started to notice that voice about never finding a new tenant, I said, stop. And it interrupted that pattern, and in that gap, I started telling myself one of my mantra, everything is always working out for me, and this is gonna work out, and this is gonna work out well. And then I go from that one thought, I create a series of new thoughts that are moving me toward my desired outcome. So instead of going toward fear, I go toward faith and toward belief. Now, if we go back to just the big picture here, it's very simple, but it requires a lot of self-awareness. Again, if you cannot see it, if you cannot catch yourself, I'm in the thought, I'm in the voice, I'm in that loop again, it will just sleep, like you sleep walking through it. That's why I really insist on the awareness part. And the moment you observe it, okay, it's happening again. It's that voice again. I know the sound of this. Stop. And notice how dramatically jammed it pulls, it scratches that whole program. So that alone is extremely powerful, because the more you do it, again, repetition, the more you embedded that voice will stop at some point. And then if you can start to introduce the rest, and I strongly invite you to either find a mantra, a positive thought, something that can move you to a more positive state, right? And again, give yourself some time. You know, the more you do it, the more power you build, the more momentum you build, the easier it is to go over the transition. At some point, you will be able to just say the word stop in your mind, and that voice will stop straight away and lose its power, because you've trained yourself so much that old voice no longer has the power, the attention, the energy that it used to have, and now there's something else. There's a new voice where you give your attention, meaning your energy, meaning you give it life, and you do it over and over and over again. Now you're starting to feed that garden, right? If I give you this metaphor of growing a new beautiful garden, taking out the weed and planting beautiful fruits, beautiful flowers, beautiful things into the soil, and you water it with your attention, it's going to grow. And at first it's going to be very weak, right? Like a new plant that is just germinating out of the ground, and it's weak and it can be smashed away very fast. But if you keep your attention there and you water it and you take care of it, it's going to grow, it's going to become very strong, and before you know it, it's a freaking tree rooted deep in your subconscious mind. And that is a massive game changer. So again, this process is, if you look at it, very simple, right? I'm aware of it, boom, stop. I interrupt it, I introduce something different, something positive that is moving me toward my desired outcome, that is creating faith, that is creating trust, that is creating something better in me, depending on the situation, yeah? And I do it over and over and over and over again. And if you do it over and over and over again, I guarantee you it's going to blow away that old voice, and you're going to create something so powerful, so deeply rooted in something greater, bigger, that it's going to start attracting, resonating, and bringing new results into your life. And that new momentum will carry on and on and on, as long as you keep giving your attention to that new voice, to that new reality. So this is how to stop, to break away from obsessive negative thoughts, to retrain your mind to a greater thought, to a greater inner love voice, inner courage voice, inner confidence voice. Let it grow and let it see how it dramatically changes your life experiences. All right, guys, I hope it makes sense. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button to help me grow this channel. I will see you next time. Be well.